Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday, which means a look back at the week that was and a look ahead to Saturday, where we will take on Shrewsbury Town in our latest Sky Bet League One fixture. No game to talk about this week. We did have a free week after being knocked out of the Carabao Cup last week at Championship outfit Stoke, which is probably no bad thing considering all the injuries that were mounting up. It's meant a free week to rest and recuperate. It's meant a full week on the training ground for Steve Evans and Paul Rayner with the boys. So yeah, the big news really in the last few days is two new signings. Declan Drysdale arrived on Monday. I think I did mention him in the Monday review. A strong, powerful, athletic, ball-playing centre-half who has arrived on loan from Coventry City. And Steve Evans has said today that he can also fill in as a holding midfielder, which is ideal, considering that that's the area where we have been shorn of so many players due to injuries at the moment. And then Tuesday, returning Lone Star in the form of Tom O'Connor has come back for another season-long spell from Premier League Southampton. Tom was really good throughout 2019-20 until the season was cut short. I think it's an ideal signing in the sense that he can play two or three positions, can play left back, can play wing back, can play left side of a central midfield or a left side of a diamond if we go that way. So, and I like having left footers in the squad. They add balance, and I think we've seen that recently with Scott Robertson being left footed and Josh Eccles being right at that double pivot that I talk about in front of our back four. It's worked really well. Obviously, Scott Robinson is a slight doubt for the weekend, but we'll get onto that in a little while. But yeah, two really good additions. More youngsters arriving. Steve Evans has been true to his word since the summer when he said we were going to be younger, hungrier, fitter. We've certainly gone down the younger route. Two more in their early 20s. And I'm sure Tom will settle in. There's still a few around from last term that he's going to know already. And I'm sure the boys have made Declan Drysdale really welcome. So, in fact, I think Declan played in a behind closed doors friendly, didn't he, on Tuesday? We played Peterborough, drew 1-1. Trey Coyle scored our goal. Originally, the club credited it to Christian Magoma, but it wasn't. Apparently, it was Trey Coyle. So, lots of minutes in the legs for those that needed it, which is good. And a full week on the training ground, like I already say, which is a big positive for me. Just want to have a talk before we get on to the Shrewsbury game. And I've got the views of Ollie from the Salop cast coming up as well. But I just wanted to talk about our start in general. I think we've been really good. I think, considering the amount of player turnover yet again, brand new group of players, 13 it was prior to our victory over Blackpool last week. Very comfortable, I thought, as well, without having a lot of the ball. Didn't think we were overly threatened at the back, which was great. So yeah, I've got nothing to grumble about at the moment. We're playing a new system as well. Gone away from the diamond and playing predominantly a 4-3-3 at the moment, or a 4-2-3-1 without the ball, which keeps us more solid out of possession. 4 wins in 90 minutes from our first 7 fixtures is not to be sniffed at. We've seen off Southend in the first round of the Carabao Cup. We've seen off Crawley in the EFL Trophy with a much changed 11. And we've seen off Wigan 3-2 in the league and Blackpool 2-0 in the league. So, by all accounts, a really positive start, a really promising start. Only 2 defeats in them first 7 games. And obviously, we've had 1 win on penalties as well after our late equaliser against Coventry in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Did a little online vote on Twitter over the last couple of days, was after people's thoughts on the September Player of the Year. Hopefully I'll remember to do it at the end of October as well, and it'll become a regular thing. My 4 picks were Jordan Graham, Verdane Oliver, Connor Ogilvie and Jack Bonham, and I did open it up and say that if you wanted to mention others as well, we could include them. But it seems that the 4 that were picked were the main ones that people sort of thought along the lines of as well. And Jordan Graham, congratulations to him. He won our September Player of the Month with 49% of the vote, I think. And I think Verdane Oliver got 41%. So it was pretty close. And obviously Connor Ogilvie and Jack Bonham behind them too as well, who have been very good and played a big part in our successful start to the season. You could probably chuck in a few more as well. And notably Scott Robinson, who's been really good. And dare I say it, Dominic Samuel, based on that debut. But probably a little too soon after just 90 minutes. But promising signs nonetheless. Right, that's enough about the week that was. Let's get looking forward towards Saturday as we head up to take on this team. Shrewsbury Town. Looking back to last season, think we played them twice, didn't we? Drew 1-1 away, Stuart O'Keefe penalty before we got pegged back, and then beat them 2-0 in the reverse fixture at Priestfield, and it was probably our most comfortable win of the season by all accounts. Shrewsbury were coming off the back of a cup defeat to Liverpool, turned up on a Tuesday night and offered absolutely nothing, if I remember rightly. We scored 2 goals, we were comfortable throughout, and they were pedestrian at best. There was a lot of murmurings about Sam Ricketts and his negative football at the time, and I know they tried to build what they were doing on a solid defensive base, but in terms of wanting to go and watch them, it must have been slim pickings as a Town fan, because they barely scored a goal all season. But, you know, you have to start somewhere. The best teams are built from the back, but I'm sure Ricketts will be looking to get the balance a bit better this season. It looks like they've gone away from a back three because Omar Beckles has left, I think, and gone to Crewe. They've still got Ebanks, Landell and Aaron Pierre, so I'd imagine they'll be the first choice centre-back pairing in this new 4-3-3 system that they're playing. In terms of other players, they've got Josh Feller, who's decent enough. Jason Cummings, we were linked to a couple of summers ago, or last summer. Blows very hot and cold, but clearly has ability on his day. And the most recent signing is the veteran striker Leon Clark, who's coming on a free transfer from Sheffield United. Seems that he's still got plenty of life left in him yet, and I'd imagine if he gets up to full speed and plays regularly, he'll be a decent player at this level, certainly. Big lump, can play with his back to goal, certainly knows where the back of the net is throughout his career, that's proven. So that'd be an interesting one, and maybe one to keep an eye on. In terms of form, last 6 for Gills, 1 loss drawn, 1 loss won in all competitions, so 3 wins in that 6-game period, which is 50%, which you can't argue with. Shrewsbury have only played 5 so far this season, lost, drawn, lost, 1 drawn, solitary win. Came against Newcastle under 21s or under 23s, I think it was, in the EFL Trophy. Yet to win in the league. They've only got 1 point. They've only scored 2 goals as well in their first 3 games, but did pick up a decent point at Portsmouth first day of the season. So it will be a test, but I'm confident if we go there and do everything right, then we've got a great chance. On the flip side, we've picked up 6 from 9 in the league so far. Opening day defeat against Hull, where we were well below average, has been sorted out with 2 really good wins away at Wigan and then at home to Blackpool last Saturday. Right, before we get on to Gill's team news and my score prediction, I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Ollie, who runs the Shrewsbury Town fan podcast, Salopcast. He's going to give you a few minutes of his time talking through all things Shrewsbury Town.
Hi Gills fans, my name's Ollie. I'm a Shrewsbury Town fan and co-presenter of the Shrewsbury Town podcast, Salopcast. I'm here to give you a bit of insight into Shrewsbury. So who's our manager? Our manager's Sam Ricketts. Quite a few guys who I'm sure recognise the name from playing in the Premier League and playing for Wales. He's been our manager for a couple of years now. He's starting his 2nd full season as our manager. Last season we finished 15th. We built our setup on back 3. It's fair to say we weren't very attacking, we weren't very entertaining, and we scored less than a goal a game, which is not great. This season he's kind of mixed things up a little bit. We're playing a bit more attacking football. We're playing a 4-3-3, which you're likely to see on Saturday. In terms of transfers, so we've kind of started really that we go into the season with quite a strong core. So we had quite a few players on loan last year, like most League One teams, but we're going with a strong core of our own players. So we've got Josh Feller, Ollie Norburn, Sean Goss, Dave Edwards in midfield. We've got Ebanks, Landell, Aaron Pierre, who's probably one of the best central defenders in the league, with Roshan Williams. We've also got Scott Goldborn and Jason Cummings and Sean Worley. So we've got a good base to start from. In terms of signings, probably the highlight has to be Leon Clark, who signed from Sheffield United, who hopefully and should score goals at this level. He came off the bench last week and still looked pretty mobile and pretty lively, so hopefully he'll be a good signing for us. We've signed a few players, but unfortunately they're injured, so I'll focus on those who are fit and ready to play on Saturday. One being Scott High. He's a player we got on loan from Huddersfield. He's a box-to-box midfielder who can score. He scored a really, really good long-range shot up against Borough in the League Cup, so he's someone to keep an eye out on. And another player is Fossey, who's a right-back from Fulham. He's got big hair, so he'll stand there straight away. He's quite an attacking, fast, pacey right back, so he's a good player, I think, for us this season. We're probably going to wait a bit. I think the manager is waiting for the transfer window to come to a close, wait for those championship clubs, wait for everyone else to kind of set themselves up, and the aim is really still get a few quality players, so I wouldn't be surprised if we sign 2-3 players as we get closer to the window. In terms of the start of the season, we drew at Pompey. Not a bad point away from home, and we lost at home to Northampton, which is a really poor result. We dominated the game, we gifted them 2 goals, but to their credit, they took their chances and they even hit the post in the second half. Our weakness is final third, making errors, making the right choice, passing, shooting, and we really need to improve our attacking play, which probably gives you guys a bit of hope for this Saturday that you're going to get 3 points and continue your solid start to the season. How we'll line up on a 4-3-3. We play passing, attacking football. It's work in progress, but at times it has worked quite well. So the first 25 minutes of the game against Plymouth, we absolutely dominated them. But again, we did score. Josh Vela scored his first goal of the season, but we could have scored and should have scored more. And it'd be interesting to see how we match up against you guys on this weekend, given you guys play a more direct, combative style, and it's a kind of style that we've struggled against in recent years. So last year we beat Coventry, we beat Peterborough, we beat Sunderland, we beat some of the top sides in the division, but we really struggled against the more direct sides. So again, that's something that probably will come into play on Saturday, and it'll be interesting to see how we perform and react to that. In terms of score prediction, I predicted 2-1 to Shrewsbury last week. We've got to win eventually, and I see no reason why we can't beat you guys at home. If we're going to stay in this division, we need to be winning our home games. And see no reason why we can't beat you guys, even though you obviously have recruited well and looks like you guys can have a good season potentially as well. It's certainly a division that is up for anyone to kind of make a kind of playoff run. So it'd be interesting to see how you guys get on. It'd be interesting to see if Liam Clark starts, and it'd be interesting to see how well we start and how we kind of react to you guys. So actually, I'm quite looking forward to this one. It should be a really, really good game. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers to Ollie. That's some really interesting listen. That makes some really good points in there and some in-depth insider knowledge from a home fan's point of view. Before we travel up at the weekend, disagree with your score prediction, of course, but I'll get to mine in a little while. But yeah, thanks for that. That was very insightful. Appreciate your time and appreciate you sending the video. Team news for Gills is the next thing before I get on to the most important question. Obviously, no Stuart O'Keefe, no Carl Dempsey. I'd imagine Matty Willock's out. We've not heard anything, but there's nothing to say that he's back in contention. And Steve Evans did allude to Scott Robertson in today's press conference and said, Scott Robertson featuring will be my decision. So, seems he's still hampered by what looked like a small hamstring problem last week when he came off clutching the back of his leg. My team, therefore, if Scott Robertson is fit, would be Jack Bonham in goal. A back four would be the same as last week. In fact, to make it easier, the whole team. I wouldn't change it. I thought we were really good without the ball last week against Blackpool. I thought when we did try and get it down and play, we caused problems. We scored 2 really good goals. And I just think it'd be wrong to change a winning 11. So my team would be Bonham, Jackson, Tucker, Medley, Ogilvie, Eccles, Robertson, Mellis, Samuel, Graham and Oliver. If Scott Robinson doesn't make it, I would pitch Tom O'Connor in for a debut. I toyed with the idea of Robbie McKenzie, but then that means moving Josh Eccles across to his unnatural side, being right-footed. If you put Tom O'Connor in there, he's naturally left-footed. He's naturally defensive-minded, so I think he'd be good, especially when we haven't got the ball. My bench would be Joe Walsh, Robbie McKenzie, Tom O'Connor, if he doesn't start. If not, Declan Drysdale, Christian Magoma, Trey Call, John Akindi and Alex McDonald. Yeah, it's 7. I thought I'd named 8 for a second there. Right, most important question every Thursday is score prediction. Based on the way we've started this season, I think we've been really good, full of attacking intent. We've scored 5 goals in our first 3 games in the league. Obviously, they've all come in the last 2 after that pretty blunt performance on the opening day. We've created plenty of chances. Based on how they've started, I think there's still a bit of a question mark over Sam Ricketts. They're still in a transitional period in terms of systems. So I'm going to go for a final score of Shrewsbury Town 1, Gillingham 2, and I'm going to back Dominic Samuel and Jordan Graham to get on the score sheet this weekend. Right, that is enough from me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, which means we're nearly at the weekend. It's nearly time to watch the Gills again on iFollow. Still not the same as being in the ground, but it's better than nothing, certainly. Please keep liking, subscribing, retweeting. Go and check out Salopcast. It's a really good, passionate, knowledgeable, fan-base run pod by their fans up there, and that's the type of content I like to see as an EFL football fan. So go and give them a follow on Twitter. Thanks again to Ollie for his contribution tonight. It is much appreciated. Like, retweet, subscribe. You know where we are. Until next time, up the Gills.